happy to see so many of you after the recent State of the Knowledge workshop hosted by NIH. At the risk of being part of a broken record that I think we started to hear yesterday, I came away from the workshop very charged up and very excited, and so much more demanding of your leadership, your creative leadership as a result of it. In this fiscal environment, OMB now more than ever is scrutinizing common functions across agencies and departments and questioning their respective roles and their value. This committee could coordinate CFS research in a way that's not been done before, in a way that could solve CFS relatively economically and, frankly, help the participating agencies justify their respective programs and funding. The State of the Knowledge workshop demonstrated that there are remarkable researchers from across the critical disciplines who are dedicated to solving CFS. There's a strong foundation of research already built over the last 20 or so years. The key is building on it, filling the gaps. So how do we align the resources and provide the common foundation necessary to do it? Inter- and intra-departmental cooperation and alignment are vital to positioning the range of interdisciplinary studies needed to get to the biomarkers, diagnostics, treatments, and cures necessary to solving CFS. Dr. Monroe of CDC, in his remarks at the workshop, showed insights into what needs to be done, efforts in which CDC could play a critical role if it chose to position its program and its resources to lead with vision and purpose. Dr. Monroe spoke of, among other things, the need for reverse translational research, going from the bedside to the bench instead of the other way around. The complexity of the infectious disease element. Is it one or multiple hits? Is it a hit and run or a persistent attack? He spoke of systems biology and the need to use new lab and analytic tools to understand how the multiple systems can be so dysregulated, how that dysregulation varies by patient, and how to intervene. He spoke of progress towards biomarkers and the need to knit together the various varieties, exercise, cytokine, genomics, what have you, to determine what makes sense for diagnostics and interventions for different patients. In her summary of the State of the Knowledge, Dr. Vernon summarized the current gaps in knowledge and research studies, including the issues of terminology and varied case definitions, which blur the lines between research and clinical medicine and create problems in comparing study results. Dr. Jason spoke so compellingly about this at the workshop. The lack of standard operating procedures for studies, the lack of common data elements, and the need for greater collaboration and coordination. The need for study design to account for subtypes, demographics, disease and healthy controls, biomarkers, time course data, clinical trials, early detection, the pediatric versus adult presentations, and outcome measures. The varied types of studies needed, including longitudinal, natural history, early detection, and so on. And the need for reproducible, replicated, validated biomarkers. And finally, I think a comment that was echoed by so many at the workshop, the need for more research money. That last one may be out of reach. Dr. Mangan himself has said that there will be no new set-aside money from NIH. So given that, what do? Dr. Cook yesterday asked the exact right question. How do we sustain the momentum coming out of the State of the Knowledge workshop? And I don't think he, or we for that matter, got a good answer yesterday from the HHS. I think it boils down to using the current resources and the respective agencies and researchers' many, many talents as effectively as possible. And it probably means making the most of the existing grant-making processes, as problematic as they are for this illness. So it seems to me that this committee, if properly staffed and supported by HHS, could accomplish a lot within those constraints if it focused on nudging and controlling things in the right direction and working to align researchers and resources within this environment. And here's one obvious critical thing that this committee is perhaps uniquely positioned to accomplish. Lay the infrastructure. This committee could resolve all those nagging questions of standard operating procedures and standard data elements, let alone some of the other bigger issues raised at this State of the Knowledge workshop that continue to plague our ability to compare and truly understand research findings. This committee, again, if properly staffed, could lay a foundation that could radically enhance the value of all subsequent research. Because if new studies continue to be done using the different case definitions, the different SOPs, the different data elements, etc., we'll have bought ourselves more study results, but we'll have that many more of the same kinds of persistent questions about what those results mean. And what we really need are answers, not more questions. I appreciated the Reverend's testimony. I still want to believe that government can solve big problems. Polio was solved through creative leadership. CFS should be no different. Thank you.
Well said. Thank you, Amy.